Money is basically the underlying operating system of our modern world, right? We earn it, we spend it, we save it, and we're constantly trying to figure out how to optimize it. But, when you strip away the daily noise, the complex math, and all that intimidating Wall Street jargon, have you ever actually stopped to analyze the real machinery at play? What does finance actually mean at its absolute core, stripped right down to its first principles?
Well, welcome to today's Explainer. Whether you're looking to optimize your own personal portfolio, maybe structure a brand new business venture, or just analyze broader macroeconomic trends, returning to the core fundamentals of finance is absolutely essential if you want to spot the blind spots in your strategy. Because it's not just about crunching numbers, it's a whole systems thinking approach to resource allocation, and I am incredibly excited to guide you through it today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our roadmap today covers 1. The Money GPS, 2. The 3 paths of finance, 3. Why finance matters, 4. Finance in action, and 5. Your financial dashboard.
Section 1. The Money GPS.
So a lot of people treat finance as this super intimidating, highly theoretical concept. But functionally, finance is simply the active, ongoing process of managing resources. It's really just 5 specific actions that operate as a continuous feedback loop. Earning money, spending money wisely, saving for the future, investing to grow wealth, and borrowing and lending responsibly. It is a completely active cycle. When you lend responsibly, for instance, you're actually fueling someone else's ability to earn, which in turn generates a return on your investment. It's honestly a beautifully interconnected system.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core concept. Think of finance as a GPS for your money. I mean, we've all been on a road trip where someone stubbornly refused to ask for directions, and we know exactly how that ends. Don't let that be your bank account. If you don't have a navigation system turned on, sure, you might eventually reach your destination by sheer luck, but statistically, you're going to take a bunch of wrong turns, waste valuable time, burn through your resources, and completely miss out on high-yield opportunities along the way.
Section 2. The 3 paths of finance.
Now, this financial GPS isn't isolated to just one environment. The underlying machinery actually operates exactly the same across 3 completely different terrains. This scales all the way from the micro level of our very own pockets up to the massive macro level of global governments. So we're talking about personal, corporate, and public finance.
First up is personal finance. This is the terrain you and I navigate every single day. And at its core, this path is entirely about resource allocation to maximize your personal freedom. It covers day-to-day actions like creating a budget and paying your bills, sure, but more importantly, it requires long-term strategic planning. Things like saving for unexpected emergencies, investing into diversified assets, and actually structuring your retirement. Mastering this specific terrain is the fundamental requirement for achieving ultimate financial security.
The second path is corporate finance. Just like individuals, businesses are essentially just engines that require capital to operate. Here, the GPS is used for raising capital, tightly managing operating expenses, investing in lucrative new projects, optimizing for increased profits, and carefully mitigating risks. To put this into perspective for a second, poor cash flow management, which is essentially the corporate GPS failing, is actually cited as the #1 reason new businesses fail. Every successful company depends heavily on flawless navigation in these specific areas.
Finally, we zoom way out to the third path, public finance. This is the macro level where governments manage resources for the collective. Governments collect capital, primarily through taxation, and deploy it to fund essential public services. This covers the infrastructure we literally rely on daily, our roads, schools, hospitals, and national defense. Public finance is that inviolable, overarching engine that ensures a country's entire economy can continue to function efficiently for all of us.
Section 3. Why finance matters.
All right, so we understand the routes now, but why is this planned navigation so absolutely critical? The truth is, finance dictates the physics of almost every major decision we make. A strong financial plan helps us navigate massive life milestones and avoid structural roadblocks. It acts as the very mechanism that makes it possible to buy a home, take that huge leap to start a business, invest for the future, and eventually retire comfortably. And it does all of this while helping you avoid the crushing track of unnecessary debt.
Now, there's a really common assumption out there that simply increasing your income will magically solve all your financial problems. But here is a critical systems thinking insight. So the crucial point is, managing money wisely is actually even more important than earning it. This is largely due to a tricky phenomenon known as lifestyle creep. You can earn an absolute fortune, but if your management system isn't robust, your spending will naturally rise right up to match your new income, and you can lose it all just as fast. It's a pretty surprising truth, but it's essentially the law of financial gravity.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 4, Finance in Action.
Let me introduce you to Sarah, and we're going to treat her finances as a bit of an optimization problem. Let's say Sarah brings in a net income of exactly $2,000 every single month. This is her starting metric. This right here is the raw baseline fuel she has to navigate with.
Now, what's really interesting about Sarah's setup is that instead of wondering where her fuel went at the end of the month, she actively dictates its flow. She runs a highly effective, optimized budget. Rent takes up $700, food is $400, transportation and entertainment are $200 each. But notice how she intentionally routes 25% or $500 straight into savings and investments. Because she actively plans her spending, this deliberate routing becomes the literal definition of the GPS in action. She completely avoids high-interest debt and systematically compounds her wealth over time.
Section 5, Your Financial Dashboard. Let's do a rapid-fire rundown of the key terms you need to read your own GPS. First up is income. This is the money you earn. In our navigation analogy, think of income as the raw fuel you are constantly pumping into your financial engine to keep the vehicle moving forward.
On the flip side, we have expenses. Very simply put, this is the money you spend. If income is the fuel going into the tank, expenses are the fuel you're actively burning as you travel along your route. The faster you drive your lifestyle, the faster it burns.
Next is savings. This is the capital you purposely keep liquid and safe for future needs. You can really think of your savings as the essential reserve tank that you keep completely full for unexpected detours, flat tires, and sudden emergencies along the route.
Then we have investment. This is capital that is strategically deployed to generate even more money over time. This isn't just storing your fuel in a reserve tank. This is building a cash-generating asset that literally puts your money to work, acting as a self-replenishing engine for your whole portfolio.
Next up, assets. Assets are simply the things you own that hold intrinsic or exchange value. This is the total measurable worth of everything you accumulate on your journey, from the equity in your property to your vehicle, all the way to your diversified stock portfolio. And finally, liabilities. This is the money you owe to others, whether that's personal loans, mortgages, or credit card debt. If left unmanaged, high-interest liabilities act as massive aerodynamic drag on your vehicle, heavily restricting your momentum and really slowing down your progress.
You know, the earlier you lock in these fundamental financial systems, the easier it becomes to optimize your life, reduce your daily friction, and compound real long-term wealth. Finance isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet, it is literally the fundamental map to your future. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought to reflect on today. Take a hard look at your current habits. Analyze your own dashboard. Where is your financial GPS actually taking you?